Hello, welcome to another episode of Jim's Allotment Garden. So just starting the greenhouse. As you can see, I've stripped most of the tomatoes off these plants here. Now when you come to like this one here has got no more tomatoes on it, what you need to do is pull the plant completely out of the ground, roots and all, and then throw the whole thing in the bin. Don't try and compost it because there's all sorts of disease and all sorts of stuff in the tomato plant, and what you don't want to do is reintroduce that into the garden next year. So all of the tomato plants, rip them all out as soon as you've got all the tomatoes off, and then basically get them in the bin. As you can see, those aloe vera plants are coming on quite nicely. I've had a mouse in the greenhouse this week, by the look of it, because he's been chewing my scissors there, as you can see. So why he's chewed the scissors when he's got all this other stuff in here to eat, I don't know, but there you go. So up here, as you can see, I haven't tied this back yet, but the grapevine is almost at the top. So this one's hasn't really done anything for the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, but that'll be okay for next year, I'd imagine now. So I'd imagine it's stopped for this year now. What I have noticed is there's some sort of darkening on the stalk. I'm not quite sure about. If you know what that is, please let me know, because I don't know if I need to spray it or what. I don't know. I've not seen that before on a grapevine, so I'm not quite sure what to do with that. I've moved all the seeds over here to make a bit of room, which you'll see why in a moment. There's still quite a few tomatoes on here. However, I have taken quite a lot off here. All of the tomatoes from here, as I explained last week, I liquidised them, added some mixed herbs in, and a couple of onions, and then just reduced that down for about 50 minutes, 60 minutes on a low heat as soon as you bring it to a boil, and it makes a really nice tomato sauce, which you can use in, well, you can just use it on its own, or you can, make spaghetti bolognese or chilies and stuff with it. It is really nice. Don't add salt; it's quite salty because there's salt in the tomato. So that's kind of that size. As you can see, there's still loads of cucumbers coming. This one here has got a bit curly whirly. I'll let that go so it straightens off. As you can see, these ones here are sort of getting a bit too big, really. So the chickens will probably end up with them. So here, these are the rocket, which I put in last week. So they've really, as you can see, this warm weather we're having in September's really brought them on. These are the lettuce. Now I'm going to treat these two differently. With rockets, you can just leave them as they are, put them straight in the ground as a clump, and then they'll grow quite nicely. With the lettuce, you only want one of them. So what I'll do is I'll leave these till next week. Leave the strongest one in. Obviously, it'll be probably up here by then. Leave the strongest one in, and then take the other, the weakest ones out. But by the look of it, I'll put 3 seeds in each pot, and by the look of it, I've got 100% germination there, because it's seemingly I've got 3 or 4 plants in each one, so they've germinated really well. The pumpkins, these are what I've ended up with this year. Obviously, there's 5 there. This is the one that was on the box outside, which had its own, the root was in the plant was in the tub. Very unimpressing this year, to be honest with you, the pumpkins. This is a picture of what they looked like last year. So as you can see, these compared to last year, I think I had 32, 33 pumpkins last year out of about 8 plants. This year I've got 5, so as you can see, it's not been particularly good. And other people who have had pumpkins as well, they said they've not done particularly well as well. These are the Winterfest gourds. This one I took off earlier on because I want the other ones to develop. This one unfortunately fell off as I was getting this one out. But that's about as big as they get, and you get like a sort of greeny bit at the bottom. These are the weird Pourgettes that I was telling you about. They've gone orange just like a pumpkin. This one's still green, but I've taken them up now because what you don't want is frost to hit them. If frost hits them, then it'll send them bad. And this has been given to me. This is what's called a birdhouse gourd, and these grow like the cucumbers. Obviously, it's the same family plant, so they grow up like this, like a vine, as opposed to across the ground like a pumpkin would. And you can actually eat these, but they're not. It's not advisable you eat them too much. The reason people grow them is twofold. One, you can dry this out for about 3 or 4 months. So put it somewhere sort of dry and reasonably warm over the winter, and that'll dry out. And this outer skin here goes hard, and the fleshy part on the inside dries out and releases the seeds into it. And then next year what you can do is bore a hole into the side of it and then hang that up in a tree, and you'll find that small birds like sparrows, robins and stuff like that will actually use it as a nest. So that's why it's called birdhouse gourd. Or the other thing you can do is dry them, leave them, don't drill a hole in them, and then just you can actually use them as a maraca, because as the flesh dries inside, the outer skin goes hard and the seeds release inside and it becomes like a maraca. So they're good for children, because what you can do is dry them and then they can use them as a maraca to obviously make some music with or whatever. I haven't put these in as of yet. The strawberries, obviously, I'll put all of these in when all the tomatoes come out. So that's the greenhouse this week. What I will show you now is a quick video that I took last week of one of my neighbour's plots. It's actually the person who grew these, and you'll be able to see their gourds, etc. They've got Winterfest gourds, and they've got some similar as well. And at the time I made the video, I wasn't sure what this one was, so I actually say in that clip that I don't know what it is, but birdhouse gourd if you want to grow these next year. I just thought I'd show you my neighbour's impressive set of gourds and squashes, etc. Obviously they're butternut squashes, they're considerably better than mine. They're the pumpkins. I've no idea what they are. I'm assuming they're some kind of gourd. Got some small ones. They've even managed to grow one the same shape as a duck. So that's the greenhouse for this week. Outside, as you can see, the herbs have really started to grow back now. So I've got nice fresh mint and chives, etc. Obviously, I've cut the pumpkin away from there. So what I'll do is I'll clear that plant away. These plants are obviously okay to compost, so do put those on your compost to rot down. As you can see, the mint is coming back over here, and the oregano is also sort of springing up as well. And the rosemary sort of stayed pretty much as it is. It has sort of sprouted a little bit more, but it's obviously opened up the light. And these are the two justiceberry bushes which I've just moved there. We've just moved this barrel over for John, my neighbour. Obviously these are the ones we put in the other day, and he wanted to straighten this up because I noticed it was on the tilt, so we've just reset this slab in the bottom here for him. Put the barrel in, and we've put a new length of pipe onto his guttering and just screwed it in the side there just to hold it in place so we can get his watering cans in and out of there. Carrots are pretty much as they are. I'll be digging some more of these up tomorrow for Sunday lunch, but carrots are pretty much as they are. Obviously we did the asparagus last week. The raspberries are as were. We have been picking some more raspberries. A couple of them are starting to go over since we had that rain yesterday, but we are still picking raspberries. Believe it or not, I've actually done some weeding here this week, but you can't really tell from this side, but all the big ones that were running to seed I've pulled out. The tunnel, I'll just do it from here, save going in. It's pretty much the same. The peas have gone over, and the kale at the back is still growing. We've eaten quite a lot of that. Sunflower, as you can see, has done really well. To give you a perspective, there's my hand, so it's about the size of a dinner plate. It's got to be about 16 inches across, so there'll be loads of seeds in there for the chickens to eat. This one here, as you can see, has now gone completely over. So what I'll do is I'll cut that off in the next couple of days to start to dry that. The way to do that is cut round the edge here. So cut it off the plant by cutting it there, then get a knife and cut round the edge and take the back of the flower off. The reason being, if you don't do that, there's too much moisture and it will start to go sort of mildewy and it'll send the seeds rotten. So that one and probably this one you can see just in there, and these I'll take off over the next couple of days to start drying the seed off. In here obviously I've showed you that I'd started clearing that off. I haven't done any more yet, but I'll be busy tidying that up in the next week or so. I've been digging quite a lot of potatoes out this week. I've dug this entire row out here and I've started to come back on there, but with work commitments and everything else, I've not managed to dig any more out. I have weeded it a bit, but I'll be digging some more potatoes out. And this is the time of year to start sorting the potatoes as well, so there's a little video which is coming up just after I'll talk about the beans, with what to do with those, so that's coming up in the next few minutes. Obviously the pumpkins I've taken out from there, so the plants that are left now, as you can see, they're starting to die off. They start to go silvery and brown. Just pull them up and put them into your black bins and they'll rot down nicely. As you can see, the sunflowers from here are doing really well over the other side. Again, they're a little bit later than the ones I've just shown you, and then these smaller ones here, because they're a bit later, even though they're the same seed, they're a lot smaller, but pretty nevertheless. So we've had quite a few of the beetroot out, so as you can see I've been pulling the beetroot out of there, so there's probably a dozen or so of the red and a dozen or so of the white come out over the last week. I've just chucked the tops over there. What I have found is we've got rabbits over here and they've been eating them, so that's one thing to look out for. As you can see here, the rabbits had a nibble at that one. You can see the two teeth marks running through, so if you have got rabbits near your allotment, it might be worthwhile you putting some net over them or something this time of the year, because they seem to be coming in off the fields now that the farmers have got the crops in, and they'll start to eat your winter veg if you're not careful. The beans have gone. They were taken down. I've taken a load of seed off there, which I'll explain in the next clip, but they're down now, and I'm going to leave the actual bean plants there to dry out, and then I'm going to burn them either next week or the week after. So here's a video of me taking down the beans. So as you can see, the beans have now come to the end, so I'm going to take all of these down today, and the way to do that basically is first thing I want to do is to take all of these beans off, because the seed will be in there for next year. As soon as I've done that, I'll release the canes at the top, and then I shall be pulling the canes out, and the way to do this to avoid snapping the canes off, which is quite easily done, is you work from one end and then work your way along, and then basically take out the tie at the top as you're going along. Otherwise the weight of the beans, don't take out one side, and then because basically the weight of the beans will pull them over and break all the canes on the side. So basically I'm going to take all the beans off, and then from this end I'm going to work my way along, taking all the canes out, and basically leaving all of the old bean vines on the floor. So that's the beans down. There has been a bit of debate if to burn the remains, but I don't know quite what this is, but there's like a sort of black dust, which I'm assuming is some kind of insect on there in my arms. I don't know if you can see, but my arms are covered with it now as well. So well, I think what I'm going to do, obviously with the beans you can either compost them or burn them or whatever you want to do. So what I think I'm going to do is dry these out now. I'm just going to leave them sort of spread out. I'll probably spread these sort of back out like that. Get them all nice and dry. I've got loads of beans off them already, so all these ones on here are sort of surplus to requirement. And what I'm going to do is dry them off, and then I think I'll probably burn them, because I'm not quite sure what this black stuff is on them. I've not seen that before. So if anybody can advise what that is, please put some comments below. The canes, the best bit of advice I can tell you about the canes is don't leave them outside. If you leave them outside, they'll rot over the winter. And you can see this is the fat end that's been in the ground. The best thing you can do is to tie these up into bunches of say 20 or 30 canes and then put them in your shed. If you haven't got a shed big enough to put them in, I suggest dry them off, make sure they're nice and dry, and then sort of try and put them in some plastic or whatever, just to keep the elements off them over the winter. But if you leave them outside, these canes will last for probably about 2 or 3 years. If you look after them and put them in a shed over the winter, they will last you a lot longer than that, sort of 8, 9, 10 years if you look after them. So as you can see, I've put the canes at the shed now. I've tied them at each end and in the middle with it's just some old cotton. I think it was an old sheet or pillowcase or something like that. I use this because it lets them breathe, and string can cut into them a little bit. I've tied them in the middle and at the ends to keep them straight, and also line them on the floor to keep them straight. During the winter they can warp, so you need to leave them lying down somewhere dry so that they don't warp. If you don't have room on the floor, what you can do is either hang them up where you're hooking them in the middle and at each end there and there, or put them on a shelf or something like that. But don't lean them up against something, because then they'll start to warp. The beans, as you can see, are all in a tub, so I've got more than enough beans for next year. What I'll do with these is lie them out. I won't leave them in this tub. I'll sort of lie them out till they're dry, like this one. And then, as you can see, all the beans are inside, so they'll be the seed for next year. So I'll probably pod them in maybe 2 or 3 weeks' time when they're all brown like this one. Moving on to the potatoes. Obviously I've been digging up the potatoes this week. What I do is I dig them up and put them in a big tub like that till they're dried out, and then I go through and sort them out. Any that are sort of this big, which are obviously good for roasting and stuff like that, they'll go in one sack, which is just a paper sack. As long as it's dry and dry and dark, they'll keep all right. Any potatoes that are like this, which are obviously good for baking, they go into a different sack, so when we need baking potatoes. And then anything that's sort of this size is good for your seed next year. And what I do with these is, again, keep them dark and dry, but what I do is to make sure that they stay separated during the winter, I put them in the egg trays like this, where I can get 36, I think there is in there. No, sorry, there's 30 in there. Potatoes, and basically what you need to do is, so they're ready for next year, make sure that the eyes are pointing up, and then I can leave them in the dark shed. Come next spring I can bring them into the light, and they'll start to shoot or chit, ready for putting in the ground, etc. But at this time of year you cannot put them in this tray already, but just make sure you keep them in a dark, dry place so they don't start to shoot this time of year. Okay. The one tip that I didn't explain when I was doing the beans is, when you pull the cane out the way that it's stuck in the ground, if that makes sense. So if the cane's in kind of like that, pull it out that way, otherwise you run the chance of snapping the cane off. And obviously you don't want to snap the bottom off, otherwise it'll be shorter next year. This bit here looks pretty much the same. The Swiss chard is growing quite nicely now. I've been giving that a bit of water. The leeks are coming on, and the kohlrabi at the back there is starting to fatten up, so this will be ready And as you can see, that one there, this will be ready in the next couple of weeks or so, so we'll be able to have some the kohlrabi. It's like a sort of, well, it's obviously a brassica, you can tell from the leaves, but it's quite a strong sort of cabbagey type taste, but it is quite nice when you can either grate it and make coleslaw, sorry, not coleslaw, sauerkraut with it, which sort of pickled the cabbage like the Germans eat, or you can actually, I've just noticed, look, there's a caterpillar on that. I don't want him on there, otherwise he'll be eating the leaves. Or you can chop it up and roast it. That's quite a strong taste if you roast it. Or you can just grate it up and boil it and have it like that, which is the way we typically have it. So it does look quite different now the beans have gone here, but that's the bottom end. All of the corn's come out. Pulled all that out and all the weeds and that, so where the corn's finished now. I've just moved the bins over, and that's all that was in the. Now these bins were full at the start of the year, and it's rotted down to that, which is probably about 6 or 7 inches of compost at the bottom. So I'm quite amazed that that's all that's left. When I took the lid off, it was quite surprising that there wasn't a bit more compost. But all of that will come over here, and I'll dig all of this out, and I'll be digging a load of muck in and stuff as well. So that's where the corn was. And as you can see, the butternut squash is going strong now. We've got loads of female flowers. That's actually a female flower there, and if you can see the small butternut squash at the back. I'm watering these with 2 tubs of water every night now, because what I'm trying to do is try to encourage it to grow. Obviously I was a bit late with the butternut squash, but you can see the whole plant is plastered with female flowers and fruits at the back of them now. Look, there's another one there, another little one there. So they're all over the place now. Over here, as you can see, there's fruits coming all over it. So I'm going to encourage it like mad to try and get them to develop. And if I take you over here, as you can see, there's little butternut squashes forming here as well. So basically, the actual the fruiting part, the female part, is all around the peripheral of the what's name. So I'm obviously watering it like mad now to try and get some butternut squashes off there. The winter fest, obviously I showed you one in the greenhouse earlier on, which I took from there, but there's plenty more coming. There's another one there, another one there, and there's some little ones along here, and there's some baby ones on the end here. So I'm hoping that they're going to develop as much as they can do, so we can actually use them. But as you can see, there's little teeny butternut squashes everywhere. There's another one there, look. So it's mad. The plant sat there for nearly a month, not doing much, and then all of a sudden, it's got fruit all over it. So it's a shame it wasn't a month ahead of where it is really. But still, we're going to get some butternut squashes, so that's all that matters. That's the other side of the potatoes. The courgettes are still going mad. We've got loads of courgettes. These big ones, what you can do is slice them in half lengthways, scoop out the seeds from the middle, and then stuff it with, if you're vegetarian, you can put tomatoes and peppers and stuff like that on the inside of them, and then roast them for about an hour. Or if you are a meat eater, what you can do is cut it and then put some like mincemeat and that in the middle with peppers and onions, garlic, etc., and then just roast them off with a bit of cheese on the top. That's really nice to have. As you can see, all the sunflowers, these later ones, are all coming out now, so there's some pretty flowers along here. The sweet peas have done me proud this year, they really have. These ones that my father put in, that I've planted along here, have done really well. And the smell, it's a shame, as I said before, it's a shame you can't smell it, but it really is quite a pleasant smell here. And as the year's gone on, it's just got better, so I'm really pleased with them. Obviously I've already saved some seed off them, which is one thing I mentioned, which I didn't mention in the greenhouse. All the seeds now, what I've done is I've sort of put all of those in envelopes, and I've put them in the shed where it's nice and dark and dry. But as you can see, these ones here are really nice. That's it's about 10 foot tall, the plant, to give you a bit of perspective, and the flowers probably about 10-11 inches across. So they've done really well, these and they really do smile at you, I think, sunflowers. It's, I don't think you can help look at a sunflower without smiling, but the bees have been all over them all week. So this is the other side of the raspberries, which I've already explained. Now we're doing really well with the strawberries, and if you look closely, we've actually got some ready. So as you can see, if I lift this up, oh no, I can't lift it up because it's all revelled in, but you can see some red ones. I don't know if you can see down there. There's a red one, and there's some red ones. Well, there's the odd one all over. We have had a few already, but there's definitely some red strawberries coming. There's one there, as you can see in there, a nice one ready for picking. So it's unusual that we have them this time of year, to be honest with you, because these aren't autumn strawberries. These are summer strawberries, but because we've had such a mild, warm season this year, they've come again. So I can't complain really. It's buy one get one free this year with the strawberries, so they've done really well. So that we're back to where we are at the beginning. So that's the allotment on the 20th of September. So I hope this episode of Jim's Allotment Garden has been of some use to you. There's still plenty going on. There's still loads of cucumbers growing in here. So I don't think we're going to be short of cucumbers for the next few weeks. But over the next few weeks there's going to be more stuff going on. Obviously there's stuff to be tidied up, and I'm going to be digging out the potatoes, getting all them finished, and as I've shown you in the early video, sorting them out and putting them in the shed ready for the winter. I'll be tidying out the greenhouse and getting all of this ready to put all the lettuce in and stuff, which are growing really quickly at the moment, and I'll put all the rocket in and everything else, and the alpine strawberries. I hope this episode has been of some use to you. Please do put your comments below. If you know what that is on the grapevine, I would really appreciate your comment, because I'm not quite sure what to do with that. I'm going to have to research through my books to see if I can find out what that is. But anyway, thanks for watching Jim's Allotment Garden, and I'll see you again very soon. Thank you, bye bye.